Hello, and welcome to the Quiet and Strong podcast, especially for introverts. I'm your host, David Hall, and the creator of quietandstrong.com. This is a weekly podcast dedicated to understanding the strengths and needs of introverts. Introversion is not something to fix, but to be embraced. Normally, we will air each episode on a Monday. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform. Leave a review, tell a friend, help get the word out there. Here's a recent review from a listener. I love this show because it's so positive. Introverts have a lot of strengths, and this show makes you aware of them and helps you take advantage. David is a great host and makes you realize you have a lot to offer the world and are perfect just the way you are. Thanks so much for that review. That means a lot to me. And it also goes along with the topic today. This show is meant to be positive and celebrate what's great about being an introvert. The very first episode of the Quiet and Strong podcast launched January 2nd, 2021, to celebrate World Introvert Day. World Introvert Day occurs January 2nd every year. So at the time of this recording, that's next week. I'm happy this year it's on a Sunday, so I'll be sure to have the day off of work to celebrate. And we do have much to celebrate about introversion, and this has been one of the main messages of this podcast. The goal of my writing, speaking, and podcasting through Quiet and Strong is to make the needs of introverts normal, understood, accepted. I also want introverted strengths to be known and celebrated. I know I am much happier and far more successful than I've ever been simply by being true to myself and my strengths, honoring my needs. I've learned to be my best and not compare myself to others and their gifts. I know what is best for me and what I like to do. This year we've added some great guests to the Quiet and Strong podcast that have learned to embrace their introversion and honor their needs for success. Some guests have been experts on introversion, and others are successful professionals that are applying their understanding of introversion to their chosen field. Our personalities, they come to us quite naturally. Introversion and extroversion are not good or bad, but are inherent, like being right or left-handed. The important thing is not the label of introversion or extroversion, but understanding what that means for you. As introverts, we may have different desires, values, skills, and abilities, but what we have in common is a love of ideas and concepts. We're great thinkers, and we can use this skill to identify and hone other gifts. And with that, sometimes we do need some time alone. Not always, but we need time alone to do that great thinking or recharging. So, let's review some possible introverted strengths to celebrate. You may relate to some, and you may have some to add that I didn't mention. As an introvert, you probably have a desire to feed your mind and do lots of reading and researching and collecting of information. This can make you extremely valuable as an expert in a particular area. It may help you think about how to solve problems. You may be curious and always reading up on the latest trends to explore, to gather, and synthesize the latest information. What's working? Or what is broken? What could life be like if? You may have many ideas. For some introverts, these ideas may come nonstop. You may have flashes of insight as you reflect on various aspects of life. You may be very creative. You may feel emotion deeply and use this gift to understand others. Likely you're a dreamer and have very innovative ideas. You may struggle at winging it, but introverts are the masters of preparation. With a little work ahead of time, you can put together a brilliant presentation or speech, or prepare for that important meeting by considering all the necessary details. You may have the ability to focus or concentrate for long periods of time, which allows you to work on complex problems or projects. You may be very methodical and relish working through statistics or data, or you may have a great talent for sifting through small details. You may love to theorize and think about a better way of doing things as you gain insights on how to better your life or how to better the lives of others. You probably have a great imagination. You might be a great observer of people or have a deep understanding of the emotions and feelings of others. You may be a fantastic listener, or you may be intuitive to the needs of those around you. You may have a skill for seeing the strengths in others and helping them put those gifts to use. You're likely very thoughtful and may be skilled at asking relevant questions or looking at exceptional situations and coming up with amazing insights. You may come up with questions that no one else has asked. As a reflective thinker, maybe you get excited and challenged as you think through the mysteries of the universe. You probably enjoy a good thought-provoking book or movie. You also may enjoy some time alone, or sometimes just don't mind being alone. You may want to spend some time with a close friend or a small group of friends. Maybe sometimes you want to go to a loud party, and maybe sometimes you don't, and that's okay too. And our personalities and desires, it's complex and multifaceted as human beings. So what are your strengths? Maybe I mentioned some, maybe some of those things I mentioned don't apply to you at all, but what are your strengths and gifts? And that's the key. The key is self-awareness. As Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And that's what we want to explore, getting to know ourselves and discussing strategies and tools for happiness and success, peace of mind, energy, by knowing ourselves and not try to be something we're not. And this show, of course, is geared towards introverts, but extroverts are always welcome and can benefit by coming to a better understanding of the introverts in their lives and how they can support and celebrate them in being their best. And there's plenty of myths about introverts. So part of this show over the past year and beyond will be myth busting. What introverts are and what they're not, and some misconceptions out there. But when you know your strengths and needs, you can apply this knowledge to relationships, communication, leadership, productivity, overall success, and happiness. And as we're doing this journey of self-discovery, it's really important not to get hung up on the labels. So many times I hear, I'm not sure, David, if I'm an introvert or an extrovert. Maybe I'm a little bit of both. And it almost seems like that the goal is for that person is to just give themselves that label. But if all you know is the label and you're not taking that deeper dive to find out what it really means, it's not going to be that valuable to you. Again, let's find out what your strengths are and what your needs are. So if you haven't already, I encourage you this coming year to take a deeper dive beyond that label and figure out who you are and what works best for you. What do you need? And this podcast is a great place to learn more. And the Quiet and Strong website has many blog posts about many different topics related to introversion. So, how will you celebrate World Introvert Day? What makes you happy? So maybe it's going for a walk, a hike, a run, a drive, reading a book or watching a movie, or watching several movies, spending time alone pondering the mysteries of the universe, or maybe even doing nothing, or spending time with your favorite person or people engaged in deep conversations, or just taking it easy with your favorite people, or a million other things. Do what makes you happy and celebrate what's great about being an introvert. So, happy World Introvert Day 2022, everybody. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to further connecting with you. Reach out at david@quietandstrong.com. Check out the website, quietandstrong.com. I'll add social media channels to the show notes. Send me topics or guests you'd like to see on the show. There's so many great things about being an introvert, and so we need those to be understood and, of course, celebrated. In 2022, we'll continue to have great guests and topics. We need to continue these conversations about the strengths and needs of introverts. Get to know your introverted strengths and needs, and be strong.